Hello everyone, my name is John Reed and I'm one of the developers that helped build Google Web Designer. In this video I want to talk about the timeline in its advanced mode. The timeline has a couple of different modes. We'll have a video for quick mode as well. That's for doing basic animations, but advanced mode is for doing animations that require a little bit more finesse, and it also gives you a little bit more access to the document that you're working with and so forth, and I'll just demonstrate that today. So I have a sample document open here. The animation in this is pretty simple. Just show you that real quick. They just move and the bottom one changes color. No big deal. So that's what we're working with. Now, as I said, the timeline actually gives you a little bit more insight into your document. Here we have our individual layers. We have a green layer, and you can modify the label on things, green, and that actually sets the ID on the element. And here's our red layer, so we can see which one's what. These are siblings at this level of the document. So you know, in your HTML document, you can have elements that are nested inside of other elements. You can have paragraph tags that are contained inside of section tags, which might be contained inside of div tags, and so forth. This gives you a representation of all of the sibling elements at your current level in the document. And you can see the red element here, to give as an example of this, you can see the red element here has some child elements. So if we double click on that, we can see here's now our blue, white, and black elements that are inside of the red div, and you can see our representation up here at the top of the timeline now gives us an indication that we've gone from the top level div into another div where these are now being displayed as siblings. And you can see these have their own animation tracks. These aren't animated at the moment, but you could easily animate sub-elements and even go down as deep as you need to for doing animation and so forth. So this gives you the ability to do nested animations that are dependent on their top level animations and so forth. It gives you a lot of flexibility in your animations. If you want to move back up a level in the DOM, you can use your breadcrumb trail here to go back up. If you want to go back up to the very top level, you can just double click on the stage. That has the effect of taking you back up to the top. That's if you're using the selection tool and double click on the stage. The layers over here also give you an indication of the visual stacking in the document. So green layer is currently on top of red layer. So visually, it will be on top of the red layer. You can see I've moved it on top of there. So it's actually on top of that. If we drag and drop this down below. Now the green layer is visually below the red layer, so the red layer will cover it if we move it underneath. You can do that. You can select multiple items here. This has the same effect as using the compositing buttons at the top of the screen if you're using the selection tool. The big difference is that in the layers here, you can select more than one layer and drag and drop it. These buttons only work with one layer at a time. Now, each element, as I said, has its own animations associated with it. You can see here we have our time set out at seconds, and then if you mouse over a particular keyframe, it'll tell you where it is in milliseconds. So 2000 milliseconds is 2 seconds, and so forth. Here at 0 seconds, you can see this is what it looks like. Here at 1 second, this is what it looks like, and here at 2 seconds, this is what it looks like. We also have a red track, which is the duration indicator. This indicates the maximum duration of all of your animations that are currently at this level of the document. So let me just show you how to actually build these animations and show you how quick that is. So I'm just going to do a new file. I'm going to do a simple HTML file. And I'm going to open it in advanced mode so that it'll go straight there, but you can pick whichever mode you want. Okay, and then we have our new document across here, and then I'm going to draw a couple of div tags. So we have other videos about all of the tools that I'm using. So do go look those up if you're not sure what's happening with these. So I'm just going to draw a box. I'm going to give it a color. I'm going to call it green. I'm going to give it another box. I'm going to call it blue. And then what I want to do is I want to just do an animation on these guys. So I'm going to select both of them. And then I'm going to put my time marker at 1 second. And I'm going to hit F6 to put keyframes in both of them. Now you can see I've added an initial keyframe to both of them at 1 second. These keyframes are selected. You can see they're blue, so that means that they're selected. So any changes that I make to these elements on the stage will be recorded as animations, and the program will just handle the tweening for you between the two. So these I'm just going to move. So I'm just going to grab these and I'm going to move them over here. And then if I want to play that, I'm just going to click my play button, and there you are. That's all it takes to do an animation in Quick Mode. And we can take a look at the resulting code. You can see we've got 2 elements. Here are the keyframe rules, the CSS keyframe rules that were generated that represent that stuff. And here's the animation rules where they were applied. Very straightforward stuff. Now, if I want to then take the blue one and change it to be red, for example, I can put my keyframe marker here. I can also right-click. As well as using F6, we can right-click and it will bring up a context menu, and you can insert a keyframe there. And then I'm just going to change the color to red. And now I've added that in there, and you can see it changed the color to red across those keyframes. And so that's just sort of a basic representation. There's more you can do with these things. We'll have another video that dives more in depth into some of these, into some more of the features that are available in the timeline. But this gives you a broad idea of what the keyframes are, what they represent, and how quick and easy it is to actually use them. If you want to make any changes, you just select the keyframe that you want, and then make the modification that you want. So let's say we want this to actually be up here, and then we want it to change to yellow. So now we've modified that, and we've got a nice new animation, and you can see it's really easy to do. So that takes care of this, and take a look at the next video, which covers more in depth on the features in the timeline in Pro Mode.